So earlier you mentioned something about Mindslaver. You want to circle back around to that?
Sure, yeah. The Mindslaver loop. Well, people ask about this all the time, which is this is another one of these weird corner cases where we made it very hard with the tuck rule change for you to permanently get rid of a commander.
Yeah.
The way you get rid of a commander is the command tax. That is the way we want you to sort of deal with good commanders. Is you kill it often enough that it becomes prohibitively expensive for whatever impact it's having on the board. And that's sort of the goal of the flow of commanders, that as the game progresses, the commander comes out, but it gets harder and harder every time.
Yeah.
Now, people have for years looked for ways to say, well, I just deal with your commander once and don't have to deal with it again, and that's not an experience we encourage. We want people to be able to play with the commanders and have that particular piece available, especially since, and we certainly saw when we got rid of the tuck rule, which was the main impediment, people started building around commanders a lot more aggressively.
Which is what we wanted.
Knowing that you would have it.
Or
which is exactly what we wanted.
Anyway.
And so for a long time now, the only real way to permanently get rid of a commander is to use Mindslaver or Worst Fears or the other variants on that, which are gain control of the player, and then you, using their cards or your cards, exile the commander, and then because you control the player, you choose to leave it in exile. Now, this is we call this the Mindslaver loophole because you're kind of exploiting a loophole. We haven't fixed it for a couple of reasons. One is that it doesn't actually come up very often. This is like we were talking about earlier with Rune, which is this occurs in games with people who are expecting it, or this doesn't. First of all, it doesn't occur very often. Like I don't want people to go out thinking, oh my God, there's a million people out there who are abusing Mindslaver to do this, because Mindslaver is not a terribly powerful card. It does lead to some fun games. You should play Mindslaver for its wackiness and potential for doing ridiculous things. I got Mindslavered once holding Desolation Angel in hand. That was
that was awkward.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But the point is that, again, in the sort of friendlier, more casual games, most people aren't going to try to actively Mindslaver you, and in the ones where they might, it's probably not good enough. And where they are still doing it, it's a very antisocial play.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot. And again, if we saw like huge upticks of this happening in games more widely, we would address this. The second reason is it's surprisingly hard to. It's not like we can change a word in the rules and it magically works. This is one where the only way to fix this, as far as I can tell, because you control the player, so it doesn't matter if you refer to owner or controller or what else. You can't say, its controller always makes this decision, because the controller is still technically making the decision. You're just telling them what to do.
Right.
So the only way to do it is to literally say, Mindslaver cannot affect the decision to whether you're moving your commander. So we have to actually add an explicit rule that refers to this class of 3 cards.
Right.
That prevents this thing from happening.
And one of the things we've talked about previously is we don't want to reference cards in specific cards and card names in the rules. People have asked us, well, on off-color fetch lands, why don't you just say that we don't want to do it that way because that adds a granularity to the rules that's unnecessary.
Yeah, we essentially have to explicitly add text in the controlling a player's turn section that talks about commanders explicitly. Right. And like I said, if it turns out this is becoming a huge problem, and now that we've talked about it in the podcast, maybe it becomes a huge problem.
I doubt
it. I doubt it. If it's becoming a problem, we will do that.
Right.
But for now, this is one of those sort of corner cases where we want to keep the rules, the additional rules on top of the comprehensive rules, as small as possible. And this is, as I think as JLK likes to say, the juice isn't worth the squeeze here.
Yeah.